It's so weird that whenever you make a joke or bit about any other drug than alcohol, you got a couple of niggas looking at you sideways. Got dudes popping out the corners of the screen like them seagulls from Nemo. Druggy? 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 The saddest part of it all is that beer humor, the substance humor that's more accepted, is like the lowest tier of humor man has discovered. Possibly my least favorite jokes stem from beer humor. I think one of the popular ones is like, oh, you can't do this. And then the joke is like, haha, hold my beer. Fucking hilarious, right? There's some good ones though. I don't want to frame it like everyone that drinks alcohol lacks humor. There's some good ones. Like I've seen some reels where people refer to their kid as like a beer fetching machine, and I thought that was pretty funny. Maybe I'm just a fraud though. Okay, I could be a fraud. I don't like alcohol that much, so maybe that's why I don't find the jokes that funny. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's like my least favorite substance of choice. I've drank alcohol maybe like 4 times my entire life. If someone told me, hey, you can have a lifetime supply of alcohol, or you can get half of this joint I just smoked, catch me sparking up that joint like it's the Last Supper, okay? Weed? 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 Ha! You smoke weed? Yes, I do. I'm not a chronic pothead or anything like that. 9 out of the 10 times I do it, it's because someone else around me is doing it. I also don't want to make it seem like I'm getting peer pressured into doing it or anything like that, because there are times that I do it by myself. Anyways, that's besides the point. The whole joke I wanted to make, the whole object of this video, was actually to talk about another substance, nicotine. I know, right? From alcohol to weed to nicotine. Shit, we might just be talking about heroin by the time we're done with this video. I sometimes do nicotine myself, like with vapes. I used to smoke cigs, which, by the way, I got hooked on those for a time due to being in the psych ward for some time. They've recently abandoned giving patients cigs in the ward. Like, I think they now offer nicotine gum or something. But for the 2 times I was there, they had these cigs called Lucky Strikes that they gave us to try to take some of the angst away. Makes sense why they'd want to not give people a cigarette addiction, because not gonna lie, for like a brief time after being in the ward, I was smoking them shits to like calm myself down. Again, I've long since abandoned cigs, but every now and then I might hit like a flavored vape, or occasionally I'll like get a Black and Mild. I know, black nigga buying a Black and Mild like clockwork, right? I remember offering one of my pothead friends a Black and Mild, and they just looked at me like I murdered a puppy or something. I could understand that reaction, I really could understand that reaction had it not been for the way that they consume their marijuana. Before I even got into nicotine as a substance, I remember some of my pothead friends would add tobacco into the joint. Like, it's one thing that you're using a tobacco leaf to roll up and, you're making like a blunt, but then intentionally adding tobacco in there, at that time, right? At that time, for me, I was like, what the fuck? Why? If anything, it kind of ruined the weed for me. But once I got into nicotine a little bit, I did start becoming less anal about people adding tobacco into the joint. But I still prefer a joint being just weed over spliffing it with tobacco. Or, if it is spliff with tobacco, my preference is that it's not that noticeable. But yeah, I've smoked a Black and Mild around one of my pothead friends before. And remember, they looked at me like I smashed a puppy to a pulp with my bare hands. Granted, okay, Black and Milds are definitely not one of the healthiest things in the world. So at that point in time, I was like, yeah, you're right, my bad. I'm tripping, yo. My homegirl, all right, the pothead in this scenario was like, you trying to roll up, after what just happened, right? And I'm like, sure, whatever. I could use some substance abuse right about now. Very rarely do I watch the making of the joint or the spliff. Like, whenever any of my friends are making that shit, I might just go on my phone until they're done. But this time I was like, yeah, let me see how she be making this shit, I see her add the green to the paper, and I'm like, okay, yeah, pretty basic stuff. Then she pulls out the tobacco, or what some niggas call funnel or grabber, right? And she douses that shit with the tobacco. So much to the point where it's like after she's done, you can only see like 3 specks of green on the paper and the rest of the particles are like brown tobacco. I'm like, hold on. This is the same person looking at me sideways for offering a Black and Mild. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she just used too much this time and it's hard to fix something like this because of the texture and the consistency of the tobacco. Maybe it just fuses to the green, you know, once you add it to it, you know. I'm jumping too fast to conclusions. But nah, second time I watched her do it, same fucking thing. This shit ain't even a joint with tobacco no more. No sir, no ma'am. This shit was tobacco with a side of weed. And you getting on me for offering the damn Black and Mild? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Oh, I'm above Black and Milds. I'm above smoking straight nicotine. And that would, you know, that actually be a good thing. You know, that is more healthy. But the joint you're making is 98% tobacco and 2% weed. Just smoke the fucking Black and Mild at that point, nigga. God damn.